women will naturally follow the lead of a good man. If you want something from your spouse, from your partner, you have to show that first.
What's going on, guys? We're back again with episode 30 of the Black is the New Rich podcast, and today we got a very special guest, and he does a lot of things. Like I would say a serial entrepreneur, but most importantly, I want to get into a subject that I haven't touched yet, and you guys will find out very soon. But I don't want to talk too much. Can you please introduce yourself?
First of all, appreciate you for having me. So my name is Robinson Akintade. I go by Rob by a lot of people. I also go by Robin Hood. If you know me for a little while, I got a lot of AKAs. Today, I'm kind of robbing everything. So that is who I am, and we'll get into a little bit more of what I do. Okay,
dope. So you are a life insurance what do you call it exactly?
Life insurance advisor.
Life insurance advisor. You have Bear Seasoning. Can you explain that real quick?
Bear Seasoning. So Bear Seasoning is a concept that both myself and my boy Kyle, he came up with. Me and Kyle met in university. We've been very good friends ever since. So with me and him, we kind of just had the idea during the pandemic, or like pre-pandemic-ish around that time, like a cooking channel for the man, teaching the man how to make a 1-2, you know what I mean? Like that was really the idea behind it. And also like interviewing and shedding light on different chefs and people who make food in the community, Black chefs and things like that. So that was kind of the idea behind it. And then since then grown from just being that to still highlighting chefs, but having other kind of conversations. But as well, we had our annual barbecue. So our second annual barbecue was this past weekend, actually.
That's not Mississauga Valley. Right?
Yes, we do it at Mississauga Valley. So it's really just a community barbecue. So a lot of what we do is about shedding light on the community, like community advancement, involvement, trying to get everybody together, have different businesses come sponsor the event, donate to the event, be a part of the event. And it was dope. Last year was great. This year was even better. So that's really what we're about, just kind of shedding light on, and like, trying to, when it comes to food is kind of our focus. But we expand on just kind of bringing everybody together. And that's kind of what food does.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Where do you see it going in the future?
You know what? Like the YouTube aspect, like the YouTube, Instagram aspect, we're still going to continue doing that. I feel like we're going to kind of get into a place where we're doing more highlighting other people, which is what we kind of wanted to do originally. The pandemic kind of set a little bit of a roadblock there in terms of being able to get to those people and do those things. But now that's kind of what's in our forefront going forward, is highlighting different people, different tastemakers in the area, in the GTA, who are doing their thing and shedding light on them.
And I think because you guys are like for the culture, like just watching a show like that is like, that's what we need. Because a lot of us don't know how to cook like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, if we could just watch a show, cook up a 1-2, then if you have company over, and then we're blessed.
And then, man, we're having a little combo while we're doing it. You know, and me and Kyle, we have a it's funny because one of the guests that came to our shoot one time, they're like, "Oh, this is real." They were talking about like our relationship, because we have a very familial type of relationship. We have a little brother, big brother type relationship as well. So we get at each other a lot. And like, people used to think, like, some people would think that it was just for like the cameras, but no, that's how we've been since we met each other. And it makes for good content at the end of the day. But like now it kind of highlights us, but we are gonna get to highlighting other people more, which is what we really want to do. Because I think we're entertaining, whatever, but we want to actually be more. We want to shed light on the other people who are like, making a living from making food and things like that. Because don't get me wrong, like I have a business, and like I have a catering business. I make chicken wings. So Robin Wings is the name of my chicken. So a lot of people who are watching probably know me as Robin Wings. So I've been doing it a long time. So that aspect, yes, I'm kind of a chef, but I want to highlight the other people who do this for real. So that's kind of where Bear Season comes about, but it's also about bringing the community together as well.
Okay, dope. I love to hear that. And you are a life insurance advisor.
Yes.
And I feel like with our community, it's like we need the most life insurance knowledge we can get.
Absolutely.
How do you feel? How has it been working with our community in life insurance?
You know what? It used to be, so I've been in life insurance for about 6 years now. Okay. So I've been doing this for a minute. And originally it was very difficult to kind of break through to certain people because, one, I didn't necessarily have the experience.
True.
Right. So I know that some people, especially people who may have known me personally, were looking at me like, well, Are you going to be there for a while? Are you going to be doing this? Do you know what you're talking about? Or is this just a job for you? So I felt like from that perspective, people were a little reluctant at first to maybe trust me with a big decision, so to speak.
Yeah.
The other thing was, we oftentimes in our community, especially this is more of an issue with our parents' generation, where they didn't have enough excess to maybe contribute to things like life insurance. They got to this country so late in life that things like life insurance were more expensive. Or it's the ignorance and the lack of understanding what it really does and what it's for that made it difficult speaking to our community originally. Eventually I started to obviously break through, have different conversations, speak with different people. And I started to learn, like at the end of the day, I wanted to speak to people how they were, like how I would want somebody to speak to me.
Yes.
So I started to change my approach a little bit, and I really just came from an educational standpoint. Okay, cool. You don't like the idea of life insurance. You don't know anything about it, but you don't like the idea about it. Okay, cool.
Let's start from there.
So let me teach you about it. Let me tell you, these are the basics. This is what it's about. This is what it's used for. This is how it can help. This is why people do it. This is why the difference between us when somebody passes away and them when somebody passes away. Because when in both scenarios, mourning is going to happen.
Yes.
There's going to be mourning. There's going to be sadness. There's going to be things that people need to take care of. And oftentimes in our community, it's mourning and then debt, because people forget that when you pass away, your debt doesn't die with you. It goes to somebody else, right? There's bills, things that need to get paid, that need to be taken care of. So who's going to take care of that, right? So the life insurance allows you to do that. Whereas if we don't have it, okay, now we're mourning and in debt. Whereas these guys, they're mourning
and then taking care of it.
And then they, so to speak, are hitting a jackpot. They're getting an inheritance, which is what it is.
True.
They get an inheritance and it changes their lives. They can now set themselves up and set their children up. And then they do the same. And then that's really how generational
wealth.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, no, we need that. So me being a young father myself, I was kind of like, I was looking into life insurance to get it for myself. And then I was kind of like, there's not enough of us doing this.
Yeah.
So you know what? I was also out of university, kind of in and around jobs, not figuring, like I was working at the time, I was working for Rogers, and I hated my job.
Yeah.
And I was just like, let me figure out something else to do. And I came into it, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
Because you're actually changing people's lives.
Yeah. And I'm helping people.
Just got my life insurance last month. And I got the tax shelter one. I got that one. Do you educate people on that one too?
So I educate people on all types of life insurance. Okay. My biggest thing is, my approach is, let's talk about you first.
Okay.
Figure out what your situation is.
Okay.
Do you have dependents? Do you not have dependents? Are you looking to build wealth? Are you looking to secure your life? Are you looking to give generational wealth? What is your budget? What is your life really? What's really going on when you're within your life? Because there are a lot of benefits to that type of insurance, an incredible amount of benefits.
Yes.
However, there's also some things that it may not be necessarily most suited for, that term insurance, for example, does the trick for. And people forget that things like term insurance have certain flexibilities.
Break that down real quick for the people that don't know.
So when it comes to, there's different types of insurance. There's whole life insurance, there's permanent insurance, and there's term insurance. Term insurance oftentimes has a negative connotation, which is, oh my gosh, if I don't die by a certain time, I don't get this. I don't, benefit from this, or my family doesn't benefit from this. Thing I always ask people is, just like auto insurance, just like home insurance, just like any insurance, you know what insurance means? Insurance is just in case.
Just in case.
If you don't get into a car accident, they don't give you back no money. If you don't make a home claim, your home doesn't catch on fire, they don't give you back your money. So life insurance is the same way. If you don't pass away within a specific period of time, yes, you're not going to get your money back. However, it's made very cheap to be able to afford it, so that it's just like any other expense. People pay less for their life insurance monthly than they spend for their coffee in a week.
Oh, jeez.
In a week, because I know the Starbucks scores, they're spending like $6 a day.
Yeah, exactly.
5 days a week, that's $30 a month. Exactly. There's people spending $32 a month on life insurance.
Spending crazy things on like our phone bill.
You know what I mean? And those are things that we tomorrow it's gone. We don't see, we don't care about. So it's like, why can't we spend that on insurance? So that's why there are benefits to term insurance. The good thing about term insurance, you can also turn that into things like whole life insurance.
Okay.
So with whole life insurance,
you can turn your term insurance to whole insurance.
Yes, you
after
can.
it's done.
after it starts. Anytime while it's existing.
But if it expires, then you're done.
Yes, but you can do this anytime before it expires.
Okay, so you know when your expiry
exactly.
is.
So you know when your expiry is, and if you say, you know what, I want to continue this, but now I want whole insurance. Now I can afford whole insurance. Now it makes sense for me to get this. Then I'll do it at that point in time. So until then, a lot of people will get the term that's affordable. Well, the thing is,
hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Please remember to subscribe, comment, and like. Black is the New Rich.
Your life insurance need is usually the biggest, usually for the average person between the ages of like 30 to 55. That's when you're building families, you're buying homes, your wealth is increasing to the most it's ever going to be, usually your wealth or your earning potential, but your expenses are high. The things that you are responsible for are very high. Eventually, those things are going to take care of themselves. So look at it like this. 30-year-old man, married, has kids, just bought a house, average income earning maybe 150,000 between him and his spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. That man maybe needs $1 million of insurance, because that $1 million of insurance is going to take care of education for his kids if he passes away. Yeah. It's going to take care of paying off the mortgage so his family can still live in that home if he passes away. Takes care of supplementing part of his income for a period of time until his wife can get back on her feet, so to speak. Right. And then it also takes care of things like, of course, funeral expenses. Yeah. These are all the things that are taken care of within your life insurance policy. Now, fast forward 30 years, the same guy, okay? Yeah. So now is at age 60. Okay, let's say he got a 30-year term at age 30. Yeah. At age 60 now, he evaluates his life and says, okay, my policy is going to end soon. What does my life look like? Okay, what does it look like? Kids are now adults. You're 30 years later, your kids are in their 30s. Most likely taking care of themselves, self-sufficient on their own. Hopefully, right? We understand how the economy is. Maybe not, but that's what we hope for. Yeah. That being said, that's one thing off the list. Education off the list. Your mortgage is most likely paid off. So that's off the list. So now, do I need $1 million of insurance at 60 years old still? Probably not, because the things that I needed to take care of have taken care of themselves. Yeah. Now, okay, I still want to give a little bit of money. I still have my home that's paid off, my retirement, my income, whatever I have. I could have assets. So I don't necessarily need insurance anymore, because if the just in case does happen, they're blessed with what I've already built. But until then, while I'm still building this is what the insurance is for. So that's why getting term makes sense, because you can keep your expenses really low, still have a large amount of insurance. Now, people are like, well, you have to pay more for the whole insurance later. Yes, you do have to pay more. However, you can afford it because you have so much more. Yes. At 35, when you have kids, daycare, mortgage, all these things. No, paying $250 a month for insurance isn't realistic. True. You want to be able to pay $70 a month. True. So, there's different ways that we can make that happen. Everybody's different. So that's why I have that conversation, figure out, okay, what's your situation? What are you looking for? Because the biggest thing with whole life insurance is the tax sheltering. A lot of people want to get it for the tax sheltering, which is great. That's what I got. Also, you want to make sure you're doing the other things to tax shelter, TFSAs. If you have TFSA room, use your TFSA room first, because that's all of that money is going into your TFSA. Whereas with whole life insurance, yes, part of that is going into insurance. The other part is going into an investment. So it is split. So you have to make sure, I tell people, when you're getting a whole life policy, make sure you're diversifying your assets all around. True. You're diversifying your investments all around, because that's how it helps. Because
I got stocks first, then life insurance.
Exactly. And it's like, some people will, for example, put their stocks in TFSA, because then all the growth in your stock portfolio, you know what I mean? And if you have more money that you want a tax shelter, the TFSA is the bigger benefit first. So it's like TFSA, RSP, then you go into a whole life. But diversifying between all of them gives you the biggest opportunity to really maximize your wealth.
True. Right. Okay. So so for the people that don't know, you have a 11-year-old daughter. Yes. Right? Did you get life insurance right when she was young?
No, not right away. Okay. So right away, I was 20 when my daughter was born. Yes. So I was a young parent in the middle of university, working. True. I was working 2 jobs, still playing football at the time. Football didn't last really long, because of injuries and because my daughter was born. It was like, okay, I can't do this. Got to work. Yes. So yeah, that was a challenging time. So I didn't get life insurance right away because I couldn't necessarily afford it. I also didn't see the importance. I also didn't think anything was going to happen to me per se, right? So for me, I didn't get a policy until a few years later, closer to around the time when I was looking to get into the business myself. Now, one thing that some people know, not everybody does, is one of the things that happened to me, which made me a bigger advocate for getting life insurance when you're younger is I had a little bit of a health scare. Oh, wow. So I had a situation that happened to me. It started in and around the time when I was about 24 years old, but it wasn't really diagnosed or figured out until I was 27. So for a period of time, it was a bunch of different things happening that I thought had nothing to do with each other, but they all did. Long story short, one of the first alarming things was when I had applied to go get more insurance. After I had started working in the industry, I was declined because of the health stuff. And they're like, these part of your tests don't really make sense for somebody your age. So then I got into figuring out what was going on, and that led to eventually what ended up me finding out what was going on. So as a result of that, it made me uninsurable going forward to get more insurance. So there are definitely ways that you can get more insurance even when you are declined from standard insurance companies. There are high risk insurance companies, but that's the route I had to take because I, even in my 20s, realized that, you have to be healthy enough to get this. You can't just think that you're gonna be able to get it anytime. So there's a saying we have in insurance where people, you want to get it, you don't want it until you can't get it. Right? And then when you want it, it's like you can't get it anymore because something's already happened. Right. So that was kind of what happened to me. Luckily for me, I was able to get a couple policies. So I have multiple that are able to take care of the needs that I have because of the fact that, I was considered high risk because of my health. True. So so it was one of those things I didn't do right away. I didn't do it until I had more knowledge. But then as soon as it got to me, I was like, I gotta tell the man them. Especially my dogs who had kids, my friends who had kids, it was like, I have to give them this information. I have to let them know, okay, like these are the things that happen, because to my knowledge, most of them were in good health. So I wanted to make sure, okay, boom, while you can do this, do it. See what I'm saying?
Why do some people do like the multiple policies?
Realistically speaking, you can have multiple policies, and it's almost encouraged, because let's say, for example, I got my first policy at 20 when my daughter was born, and I got it for, let's say, a couple $100,000 because that's all I needed at that time, right? To take care of her, do whatever. At 32, where I am now, I have a wife, I have her, my daughter, I have other expenses, mortgage, all these different things. So it's like, okay, I need more insurance. I could replace the policy that I got at 20 years old and just get, let's say I needed $1 million and I only had 200,000. I could replace that $200,000 policy with $1 million, but now I'm getting $1 million based on 32 years old. Whereas I already had 200,000 at 20 years old. What would make sense for me to just get 800,000 at 32 years old, because it keeps my premium low. Right? Because now it just stacks the policies and they still serve whatever purpose they're going to serve. And I can still have whomever I want as my beneficiary.
Okay, it makes sense. So I just got my first. And I'm guessing when I get kids, probably get them.
And it depends on what your need is exactly. But like, let's say when you have kids, it's like, okay, now, like before it was really just for me, build wealth, whatever. Something happens to me, family can take care of, funeral expenses, whatever. But then when you start having kids, you start having more responsibilities. It's like, okay, now I want to take care of these things, because that's what comes with, having those things, having kids, getting, married, all those things, building a family comes with the responsibility. So you have to make sure you're doing the things to take care of said responsibility. See what I'm saying? So yes, you can just get more policies as you need, and you speak to somebody who obviously knows what they're talking about, and you just kind of make sure that, okay, based on where you are. And the biggest thing is understanding why you're getting more and why you're getting how much you're getting.
Getting it to get it.
I never tell people just to, like, my bosses, I'm a career salesman. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a career salesman. I'm a career hustler. I've been doing things a long time, and I'm always just about getting money, being able to help other people do the same thing. But I'm a salesman. Like I'll sell water to a well, whatever. So I've always been an honest salesman. Right. And I've always tried to be that. And some of my bosses haven't liked that, because it's like, you do well, but you could do so much better if you're like just more of a shark. And I'm like, honestly, I don't want to be a shark to my people, because to me, my like reputation does matter. And like, especially I don't want, and I don't want people coming back at me like, oh, this guy only sold me this because it made him money. Nah, no, sir. There's not a single client I have that can say that. Not a single one. Not a single one can say, hey, he sold me this so he could benefit. Everything was to their benefit or to their want. And I obviously give advice. It's my job, right? I guide them in a direction that needs to be guided, because that's what I'm getting paid for. See what I'm saying? So that's kind of how it is. Okay,
dope. So that's the life insurance. What I really want to talk to you about is marriage, because a lot of us, the streets are ugly right now. It's ugly right now, and I just feel like in our parents' time, people were getting married a lot sooner, and right now it seems like the ages are growing like to the 40s and 50s where people are getting married, and I just feel like our lack of responsibility, like our responsibility, isn't there. What do you see from your perspective? And how long have you been married?
Okay, so in a few weeks it will be 3 years.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you very much. In 3 weeks, in a few weeks it'll be 3 years that I've been married, and my opinion on the streets, or my opinion on just like marriage and how things have kind of changed from where they used to be.
Change for where they used to be, and we're going to talk about now after. Okay. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Please remember to subscribe, comment, and like. Black is the New Rich.
So I was raised for the most part in a traditional household. Yes. My father was around until I was about 10 years old, and that's when he was no longer in the picture. So for my mother, she primarily raised. I'm the youngest of 4.
Okay.
So I have 3 older sisters, no brothers.
Oh yeah.
So
okay. So yeah, that makes sense.
The youngest of 4, a lot of estrogen in the house.
Yes.
And I'm the only male. Yeah. At different points, I had males living with me, like my cousins and stuff that. Like shout out to all my cousins that ever stayed with me at any point in time. But that was the dynamic of my household. So, but I was very much still brought up on the values of getting married, like valuing marriage, valuing your wife, having a good relationship, not necessarily striving for perfection, because I think one thing my mother and other people try to teach me is trying to strive for perfection is kind of what will lead you down the path of never being happy and never being satisfied.
True.
Because you can't expect perfection in your spouse when there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Mm-hmm. You don't have one with your sibling, your parent, your child,
so why expect one with
your romantic partner? It doesn't make sense. So I also come from Nigeria. Like I'm Nigerian. That's my background. So being in a Nigerian household, like we value, like it's like one of our things to get married.
Yeah.
Like you don't just, so I have my daughter was, out of wedlock, and that at first didn't really go over well, but like, it was one of those things where like, that was just the way I was raised. Get married, you go to school, you get married, you have kids, whatever. That's the thing to do. At first, I thought it was just really a thing to do. But then as I got older, started realizing, some of these people that are married don't enjoy their marriage.
True.
So many people were saying, don't get married, this, that, and the third. And then I just started to kind of take a step back and realize why. And a lot of these people were getting married for the wrong reasons. I think that's the problem that our parents, I think they had it right in the sense that, wanting to be secure with a partner, because life alone is stressful. Life, it's hard, bro.
We're not meant to be.
We're not. We weren't made to be alone.
Yes.
And like, I'm also like of a Christian background. So like, like biblically, whatever, like, we're not made to be alone. Like, there's our rib for a reason. Exactly. That's how I see it.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, okay, if you're going to be alone building towards things, okay, cool. But like, for me, it was kind of like, don't just get married to get married at the same time, because that's what it seemed like a lot of them were doing. But you're getting married just cause. So I feel like what's happening now with our generation is so many of us are like, I'm not getting married just to get married, because I've seen all these broken marries, all these toxic relationships, all these children that were brought into the world to people who never should have had any business together at all. Yeah. Let's be real. Some of our friends, are people that we know, we look at them and we look at their parents and like, you guys had no business procreating.
Yeah.
Right? Because some people, the problem is everybody can have children biologically, but not everybody should be a parent.
Yeah. Facts.
A lot of people shouldn't be parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a different conversation. So when it comes to that, it was kind of just like, okay, well, if we're going to step into this place of being a parent and understanding like how, like, I wanted to understand why do I want to get married? What are the benefits of getting married? Mm-hmm. Right? Because I was already a parent, right? I was already a parent. So that responsibility was
deep at the time.
I was deep. So I got married when I was 29, right? And my daughter was born when I was 20. So I was super deep, right? And my situation was like, my daughter was a result of a previous relationship. Mm-hmm. And I had to go, deal with co-parenting. And co-parenting is another thing. And a lot of people who do know me and do know my daughter's mother understand that we co-parent very well. We're friends.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? Amazing. We're friends. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't always like that. Was that like that when my, 100%. We had to build that because we were baby. Like I was 20, she was 18. We were babies. You know what I mean? We didn't know shit. And we were just
you had to go through it.
And you're emotional, you're hormonal, you're everything, like both of us. So you had to really get to a point where you can make sense of it and realize, yo, we're doing this for our child. So you have to make things work. If you and I don't work as individuals, that's fine. As parents, we make this work. And as a result of it, our daughter doesn't have the luxury of taking advantage of us and saying this thing at this house and this thing at this house because we talk. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
And it's important to have that. So by the time I got married, that was one responsibility that I kind of understood how to deal with. So now it was, okay, how do I be a leader in my household? How do I make sure also that I'm marrying somebody that I actually enjoy their company, that I love, that I can see myself being with forever? It's not just transactional. True. It's not just because of, honestly, love isn't enough. Everybody acts like
elaborate.
Love, like, you can make yourself, and you can fall in love with a lot of different people. Love, like, isn't enough. It's about love. It's about compatibility. It's about the things that you value and that they value. Listen, if I value, like, let's say religion, if I value family, and let's say that's a 10 out of 10 on my scale of importance. And for you, that's a 2 or a 1. That is a very serious problem, because something that is so greatly important to me means absolutely nothing to you. We're going to have certain disconnects. Now, let's say I was at a 7 and you were at a 4. That's not that bad, because it's not the most important thing in the world to me, and it's also not bottom of the barrel for you, so we can find a place to compromise. People think that the word compromise means, oh, I'm not, like, I shouldn't have to compromise. Listen, shut up. Shut up. Compromise is important in any relationship. When your mother yells at you, even when she's right, when she's wrong, your mother yells at you when you're a kid, you have to compromise in that moment with yourself and with her to say, if I know that she's being irrational, and if I don't compromise right now, if I battle this to the end, I'm gonna get slapped up. So let's not. You compromise with siblings sometimes. If there's certain things that's yours and they want, you meet them halfway. You'll give them half the sandwich, whatever the case is. So why are we so reluctant to do in romantic relationships? There's no reason you should be so reluctant to compromise, because not everybody is going to be at the number that you're at with specific things.
True.
But be close enough that you can find common ground. Or, like, if something's not important to you at all and it's important to your partner, and it's like, yo, I can do this for you. Like, if it really means that much to you, I can do it for you, then do it. That's what I mean by when I say compromise and common ground, because people have this silly idea like it's supposed to be perfect. Like, I don't want to get married, or I don't want to be with somebody until everything is perfect. They like everything I like. We can do the same thing. Excuse me, listen, no, it's never going to happen. It's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to be able to be taught things. You're supposed to be able to teach things. And as a man, I think that the problem with our generation of men is that we forget that we're supposed to be leaders.
Oh, bro, elaborate.
Women will naturally follow the lead of a good man. If you want something from your spouse, from your partner, you have to show that first. If you're giving her bun, if you're causing her strife, if you're giving her trouble, she's looking over her shoulder, doing the most, if that's what you are doing to her, how is she supposed to enrich your life? How is she supposed to make you a better man? That's what because she's going to follow your lead. 100%. She's going to give you that right back. So, like, for example, early on in our marriage, me and our wife, we had this period of time where it was like, there'd be little things like I'd be asking her to do this and she'd be asking me to do this. And she'd be like, well, you didn't do this. So why, so I'm not going to do this, or you didn't do this when I wanted, so I'm not going to do it when you want. And it wasn't necessarily all the time, but it was like sometimes little things. And in my head, it was like, are you serious? Like, this is ridiculous. This is petty. So then I had to say to myself, okay, so the logic was, okay, you're not doing this because I'm not doing this. So it clicked in my head. If I start to do the things that you want me to do before you have to ask, and I'm doing these things up front, do you have any reason to not do what I ask?
Ooh.
No.
Because you're leading now.
Exactly. So then I remember what I did was it was like over a period of like a month.
Yeah.
I made sure there's certain things that she was asking me that like I wasn't necessarily maybe taking care of around the house.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah.
And I did. And I made sure I did it upon request, like chop real quick. You see what I'm saying? And then there's a period where I asked for something and she was a little reluctant. And then I said to her, I said, in the last month or so, have you noticed that you've asked for such and such, such and such, such and such, and it's been done at your request immediately? Mm-hmm. She's like, you're right. I said, do you think that I have done my part in doing what you've asked of me in terms of behavior, action, whatever? Yes, you have. So do you think that there's a reason for you to say no to what I'm asking you right now? If I've already shown you that if I'm willing to do what you want, you should be willing to do what I want. And she was just like, she was
that's when I broke the ice.
Yo, fam, I got her. I love you, but I got her. And you know what? From then, it opened a completely different door for us because
and dialogue too, right?
Bro, because at that point, it clicked in my head now why it went to that old school mentality that our parents did have, where if a man is a good leader, yes, a woman will feel comfortable not having to work, not having to do certain things. She'll stay at home and take care of the kids and whatnot, not because she's relying on you or whatever, but because you have led and in certain directions that she feels this is your job, this is what you're going to do, and I'm going to do these things. So this is what you want of me, this is what I'm, and some men don't want their wife to do that. They want them to, you know, to have whatever they want, and everybody's different, but you have to lead by example in terms of the reciprocation of energy, because everybody has this whole, oh, I'm going to match energy. Yo, listen, when you're married, yo, somebody's gotta
give.
Yeah. And the thing is, you have your give days and you have your take days. You just never want it to be a situation where you're doing more than the other, because if you're taking too much, your partner is drained. If you're giving too much, you are drained. And you need to have that open dialogue that you can have that conversation. And honestly, as men, yo, the fact of the matter is, a lot of times, yo, niggas move like they're too good or too macho to
compromise.
Yeah, it's like, yo, oh, like I'm the man, like what I say goes. Don't get me wrong, I am the man of my house. I do lead my home, but it's not a dictatorship.
Exactly.
Like let me not even say I listen to my wife. We communicate on everything.
Yes,
we talk about everything. Every decision, for the most part, obviously within reason, is made between the two of us. And it's not because I'm asking for permission. I was like, oh, you can't do anything without your wife.
But you got a unit.
This time I don't want to do anything without her. That's my dog, bro. And that's another thing with men. It's like, oh, like I'll go out, play dominoes with my dogs, for example. And it's time to go. They're like, oh, Rob, you're leaving. I said, yes. I said, guys, I don't know about you, but I actually love my wife. My home is comfy. It's nice. We got nice pillows that I wouldn't have had if I wasn't married. It's plush. We live good. We sleep good. And like, I love her company. She makes me laugh. You guys are funny too. Yo, that's literally my partner, my soul. So it's like, yes, I do want to go spend time with her. Bye. So that's how it is for me. So when it comes to being a man, like, you don't need to be scared to show that. Like, oh man, you're whipped. Yo, listen, that's my partner. I'm supposed to be there. Being with you guys is the luxury. Being on road with you guys all times in the night, once in a while, that's the luxury. But that's not even what I want to do. Because I'm on road with you guys half the time. I'm looking at the watch like, yo, I'm ready to go home. You know what I mean? And that's when I realized, and then you know what? The pandemic was great for us, because we got married at the end of 2019. We got married in September 2019.
Went right into the pandemic.
We went right into the pandemic. So what happened in the pandemic for a lot of people was there's a lot of divorce. There's a lot of people separated.
We broke up.
Yo, sorry to hear it. Yo, and it happens for a lot of people, because you realize that sometimes you're in relationships not because you really want to be with the person, but because of something that they may be offering or whatever. And then when you have to be in a home with somebody and you're not really going to work like that, you're not going out like that, you're in your house, like quarantine, all that kind of stuff, you have to get to know them. And for the people who didn't really know their spouse or had like their kids or whatever were the ones kind of keeping them together, they realized like, I actually don't like you. And they separated, right? Whereas with us, it was like, yo, if I don't like something, I'm not going nowhere. I have to talk to you about it. I have to look you in the face and be like, yo, okay, we're going to deal with this. And this is the conversation that we're going to have. So it made us stronger, because we literally couldn't run from anything. So we had to have uncomfortable conversations earlier on in our marriage. And that was great for us.
And that's the foundation.
Yes. Now, I'm also a really, really, really big believer in premarital counseling.
Just gonna ask you that too.
So I felt that's where you were going. So I was like, let me just tiptoe right over here. So premarital counseling is extremely important.
Because, and explain that for the people that
people don't understand what really goes into marriage. And don't get me wrong, listen, I am not a perfect husband. I don't have a perfect marriage. I don't have a perfect anything. And I don't strive for perfection. I want to make that very clear. I do not strive for perfection, because when you strive for perfection, you literally always come up short. And the feeling of coming up short is super heavy, and it's not worth the feeling of setting reasonable goals and accommodating those and accomplishing those goals. So premarital counseling was something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to do at first. Now, we did two different types of premarital counseling. One with a pastor. and one with an actual therapist.
So faith-based and one that's a professional.
Professional-based, okay? Doing that was huge because from the faith-based, from my pastor's perspective, he gave us a realistic expectation as Christian people, what to expect from marriage, what to really want out of marriage, what is marriage about from a biblical standpoint. But he broke it to us, and my pastor has been my pastor since I was a child.
Okay.
So like, I got to see a different side of him, which was really cool. But me and my wife both were just kind of like, okay, what, like the nitty gritty, like, you know, how to satisfy your partner, how men and women are different when it comes to satisfaction.
Yes.
Women want to be warmed up throughout the day.
Yes.
Men sometimes say, yo, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. How do you accommodate that? Where's the middle ground? You know, where are you guys going to go to church? Do you guys have the same opinion on children? Do you guys have the same opinion on how many children do you want to have? Some people, for us, I'm very grateful that a lot of the things my pastor asked us were not surprises because we had these conversations.
Yes.
But some things took us for like, oh shoot, yeah, you know, we didn't really think about that. But it gave us that perspective of, you know, as a Christians, what does marriage really mean? What does it really mean to have a partner? This is your number one. Like, your family, your kids, whoever else becomes secondary to your partner. Your partner is just as important to you as you are, right? From that perspective. So that was really important for us. And it gave us an ability to understand really where we were going with this journey.
Yeah, where the direction was.
Exactly. From the professional standpoint, that taught us a lot about us, who we are
as individuals,
as lovers, as romantic partners, and our past and our traumas. Yo. So relationship trauma more specifically. Yes. So that was the one that got really deep and we got into the nitty gritty. And it was funny because when we went into couples counseling, first session, she told us, she's like, you know what? First session is going to be a little light, you know, not going to be too crazy. And she's like, session 2, 3, you might feel like you guys are like, you're going to have heavy conversations and it might turn to arguments, and it's normal. Just bring it back down to earth. So after session 1, we were just kind of like, felt great. We were like, oh, this is soft. Like we're gonna be Gucci. Next time we go back in there, like we're gonna prove her wrong with the whole 2-3 sessions thing. Bro, when I tell you, went into session 2, got real heavy.
Really?
Session 2 got real heavy. We started talking about our past, why we feel the way we do. What are certain things in our relationship at that point in time? At this point, we were engaged, right? What are the things in our relationship at the time that we didn't like? What are the concerns that we had? What are the things that we weren't sure about, whatever? And it's like, she'll say something and I'm looking at her like,
that's how you feel?
And it's like, okay, you got to contain it. And then it's like, oh yeah, when it's my turn, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And then at first it's like, that's the mentality you have, right? Like, I'm going to go off. And then it's like, okay, cool. You hear everything that they have to say. Then you say your piece. And then they're looking at you like, oh, that's how you feel? And it's like, all right, bet. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So then you get sessions over. Therapist says to us, you know, be kind to each other. Things might get a little heavy, just whatever. Get in the car. So back and forth. There's anger, there's words being said, there's tears. We get home. We don't say anything for like 45 minutes. And then we bring it back. Sit down and we have a conversation about what we heard. Even when we were angry, what we heard from each other, what she told us to apply.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we did a lot of listening, not listening to respond.
Yes.
I almost had to like take notes of what she was saying. So
That's
I didn't
key.
forget about it.
Yeah.
But I was able to kind of just say, okay, boom, boom, boom. And I responded when it was my time appropriately. And I'll be honest, that session there changed literally everything for us because it broke down certain walls and allowed us to have certain conversations that were like, we weren't having, right? And it was difficult to have, but then after that, it was second nature. So the third session now, we still dug deeper, but it wasn't as much of an avalanche. You know what I mean? Now it was kind of like, okay, cool. We can have this conversation. Because if we can have that conversation, we can have this conversation. And it was about things that got really deep. And it made us stronger. Those two things set the foundation for us getting married, and we knew exactly what we were walking into, and we knew that we wanted to do it with each other. And we knew that we were ready to do it with each other. And we knew that like this is the right person. You know what I'm saying? True. So it made us prepared. And I feel like with that combination, I'd have no regrets. You know what I mean? And even if things were, God forbid, to ever turn sour, I feel like I still wouldn't have any. Because what I've gained already.
Be prepared.
And what I've gained already in marriage is, I wouldn't be who I am without it.
True.
Say that. Being honest, I give my wife a lot of credit.
True.
I give her a lot of credit because, you know, she's definitely responsible for me. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, I think I've always been well spoken. I've always been educated. I've always been certain things. I've always been a hustler, whatever. Yeah. But she's made me well polished. You see what I'm saying? And like, yo, she's just made me a little bit cleaner. She made me more organized. She's made me a little bit more professional with certain things. Yeah. She's made me a little bit more aware of my responsibilities because I know that not only is she watching, my daughter's watching. And sometimes you forget as a young person that somebody is watching you. At times, we're young people still. And she reminds me of those things. She keeps me on my toes, right? And she doesn't allow me to not be accountable. I'm big on accountability.
Yes.
And I know some of the people watching may not like to hear this, but I'm big on accountability and making sure that we all know that sometimes women can have an issue with accountability in terms of, like, there's the whole happy wife, happy life, because it's all about making a woman happy. Yeah. I believe in happy spouse, happy house, because it's a give and take. And when we have this expectation that we should never, I think that, like, women should be accountable. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Yeah. So what the hell? Whoever's wrong should be able to take accountability for being wrong. And that's something my wife, I can say as I have sisters, I have a mother, and I can say that they haven't always been the most accountable for certain things, and especially with each other. Especially, let's be real, sometimes women can't always maintain the best of friendships because sometimes they can be some of those issues. Yeah. Whereas with men, we're taught to kind of come down to earth, don't argue with women, etc. And I believe that. I don't enjoy arguing with women. I don't really do it. Mm-hmm. But in that same breath, you kind of bring it back down to earth, and you're kind of like, okay, I understand. I'm listening, but my happiness matters, my opinion matters, and there's always a middle ground. Yes. You know what I mean? So she's made me polished. Yeah, bro. She listens to me. She understands me. She understands my needs. She satisfies them. And at the same time, I make sure that my priority is always to satisfy hers, whatever those may be, right? In any which way or form, I know that she wants something. It's literally my job as her husband is to provide that to her. Yeah. If it's something ridiculous, like, yo, I might be like, all right, like, I don't really know about that, but like, okay, I'll give it some thought. Yeah. Because that's still my job. Consideration. And I expect the same thing. It's really all it is. It's a give and take. Yeah. And people say, oh, you know, it should be 50-50. It should be both parties giving their effort, their all efforts at times. And the thing is, it's normal for somebody to be weak at times and somebody to have to pull them up. It's okay. For somebody
50-50. Sometimes it's 90-10, sometimes 80-20.
Listen, even when it comes down to the finances, it's okay for somebody to be making all the bread. And as for men, yo, it's okay if your woman's making more bread than you. Listen, there was a period of time where she was making more money than me. Yeah. And it wasn't like I was mad at it. It was because of a position that I was in my life or where I was at. Career change. I've been dealt a few blows in life, but I've always bounced back. So there's periods of times where it's like, okay, yeah, she was holding down the fort, whether it be while we were dating, maybe like maybe when we were engaged, all those things. But then there's a period of time where it's like, okay, I see that she was holding down certain things, but in other areas, I have to make up for it, whether it be mentally, whether it be from the standpoint of, you know, providing certain mental balance for her. She was in, you know, university studying. I had to be there in certain ways. I had to do certain things. And when I was able to get up, I had to make sure that she got everything that she wanted. True. You know what I mean? And that she could take certain rest and she could take a break because I understood that now it was my turn to be able to say, okay, I'll hold this down. You know, and like even in our marriage, it's not everything is traditional. Like I do the cooking. I do the cooking. Not that she can't cook because my wife is a fantastic cook, but I enjoy it more. Yeah. I do this. Yeah. I'm a chef. Yeah. And anybody who knows I've been doing this for the longest time. So for me, it's like being in the kitchen is something that I enjoy doing. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's typically a woman. That's fine.
But it works for you guys.
It works for us because me, I don't like to cleaning like that. And she loves to clean. She's a traditional Jamaican woman who wants to clean her house like a Jamaican mother would. And I say, yo, you know what, babe? You do your thing. Yeah. You want to do the cleaning? Obviously, that doesn't mean I don't clean. I obviously have to do my part. Yeah. But and just like when I'm cooking, that's all it is, man. Take care of your responsibilities as you need to. And it's really about, like I said, it goes back to the leading. Not enough niggas are leaders these days. Yes. Not enough niggas are leading or trying to lead the right way. And don't get me wrong, like, yo, it's hard.
Why do you think?
Why do I think? Because it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. Like, yo, like, I'm not going to sit here and act like trying to be a good husband, a good father, a good member of society is easy, because yo, we make mistakes. We're human. You have slip ups. There are things that people don't like about you, but you have to realize at the end of the day, you're doing. What are you doing? What is your why? What are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? You're doing it for your family.
True.
If you're doing it for your family, okay, cool. Do what you need to do for your family. But it is hard. You're gonna have days where it's like, yo, bro, fuck, like, yo, like I actually just want to stay in bed all day and like I don't want to think about this, right? Because for us as men who care to be providers, because I'm not gonna put that on every man. Not every man can. Not every man wants to. Cool. I believe that we're supposed to be. So as wanting to be a provider, you have to say to yourself, okay, what am I know naturally on our mind all day is, yo, how am I getting the next dollar? Yeah. How am I putting food in my daughter's mouth? How am I going to make sure if I'm not here, she's good? How am I going to make sure my wife has what she wants? How am I going to make sure my moms and them are good? If somebody calls from back home in Nigeria and needs something, do I have it to be able to give? Because that's part of the responsibility that I've claimed.
Yeah.
It's hard. And some days, yo, you feel like, yo, it's a ton of bricks. And you see it all the time online. And it's like, yo, men hide behind, I'm okay. Yeah, sometimes I'm okay my wife to death. I'll be honest with you. But then you have to remember that, yo, it's okay for us to talk about it. It's okay for us to say that, yo, I can't really carry this right now. Or I can carry this, but it's weighing on me. And this is why I'm acting this way. And it's okay to be moody. It's okay when you're weighing a lot to feel a way about it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But you can talk about it, especially if you have a partner. If you don't have a partner, get therapy. Even before I got married and did couples therapy, I did individual therapy, my guy. And yo, that shit opened some doors that I wasn't sure I was ready to open, but I had to, because that's the only way I became this man that you see before you. You see what I mean? So for me, it was like, okay, you had to make the difficult decisions. And that's what a lot of niggas don't want to do, is make the difficult decisions.
True.
And it's unfortunate because I'm not going to call people cowards or say this and that, because everybody's situation is different. And I do try my best, knowing what I've been through in my life, to give grace. However, there's sometimes when you know situations, you're like, nah, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're a waste. You know what I mean? You need to figure it out. And I don't necessarily respect the fact that, I think it's more of an issue with our parents' generation, to be honest, where men were leaving the household and not taking care of their responsibilities. Where I know a lot of men now who, yes, they're not with their child's parent, but they're there. And they're learning to co-parent. And even if they don't co-parent well, they're still doing it. They're active in their child's life. And that's what matters. And I think our generation is getting that part right, because I think so many of the people kind of in between made deadbeat dads a bad thing. Whereas I almost feel like before it wasn't a bad thing, which is so ridiculous. Like, I don't know what you guys are on back then, that you guys weren't calling mans out. And don't get me wrong, I don't know everybody's situation again. But if you know to an extent, like I've had to have certain conversations with certain maybe friends or acquaintances where it's like, yo, like this is what I heard. This about you maybe not doing what you're supposed to do. I don't think that's thorough. You know what I mean? I don't think that's okay. And it's not my business necessarily, but if I know this person well enough that I think I can speak on it, I'll speak on it. And whatever they say is whatever they say, but I'll bring it to their attention and let them know that this is how I may feel about it. Exactly. And it's like I said, I try not to cross any boundaries with people that I shouldn't. So like I said, I'll make sure it's the right situation. Otherwise, I act accordingly, and I treat this person accordingly, right? I'm very big on like maybe who you vouch for and all those kind of things. I mean, I'll vouch a certain way because I know certain things about a man.
True.
That means something to me. You know what I mean? As coming from a product of a family whose father left, I can't, and I never will respect you not taking care of responsibility, because I understand how it impacts the children. I understand how and they're innocent in it. You know what I mean? So you got to do what you're supposed to do to take care of your responsibility at the end of the day.
True.
That's how I see it.
So this is my opinion, right? I believe marriage that's not faith-based is walking on eggshells, because I believe whatever faith that you believe in, you have that covenant with God, and above your guy's marriage is God, right? And I wouldn't consider myself even religious. So I do think that's what's causing divorce to be very high, because marriage isn't initially faith-based.
It's not based in the right things.
And based on the right things.
And faith, understanding. I agree with you 100%, because the marriages that are, because I read somewhere the other day, somebody would say, oh, young black people aren't getting married anymore. I said, I don't know where that stat came from. It's not even a real stat. Somebody just decided to say it. In 2019, when I got married, in that year alone, 5 people that I know, 5 couples that I know closely got married. My cousin, my good friend, my other cousin, and my other good friend all got married in the same year that I got married. The year before that, 2 or 3 of my friends got married. The year after, a couple of my friends got married. So to me, it's like, okay, we are getting married, and we are, but the thing is, a lot of us are doing it we're trying to do it the right way, which is doing it faith-based, which is knowing our partner, which is having these tough conversations. Whereas I feel like a lot of people that aren't doing that are just getting into it because of the money, the financial security, the family, the aesthetic. Exactly. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, a lot of you niggas running around, I want to have a baby so that this baby has this specific quality or this hair or this skin or this whatever.
These are human beings.
Fam, real people. So it's like, okay, you had a child for that reason with this person, not because this person is somebody you see yourself with, but because they're bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're men. We're human. I don't even want to say we're men. We're human because we all fall into lust. See what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, cool. You are choosing to do this. It's different. Mistakes happen, things happen, whatever. We get caught up, we're young. It's different if you chose to have a baby with somebody solely based on their looks, and then now later on you're wondering, this person is crazy. I can't build with this person. I can't parent with this person. It's because you got with her because she was bad, and that was it. You didn't know that she had whatever else going on. So it's like, okay, you do that, and then there's certain women who are like, okay, I'm gonna get with a man because he has the bag. He's getting to it, whatever. Too much because some of these men are not good people.
Exactly.
They're not good people. They're not good partners. Yeah, they have a bag, but they're also maybe not ready. Some of them are good men. Some of them are, but they're not ready to be in monogamous relationships. They're not ready to take on that responsibility. They're ready to shell out bread for your company. They're ready to take care of you. They're ready to do all these things, but they're not ready to do the things that you're hoping of them. And then you think they're going to change. So I think our expectations are not built in reality. Social media is clouding the fuck out of us, bro. And it's
crazy.
Social media makes people think like, motherfuckers come on social media talking about apologizing when they cheat on. Listen, you cheat on your spouse, my friend, talk to your spouse. What are you talking to us for? Why are you talking to us? Oh, I want to talk to the people who supported me. Listen, we don't matter. You can put out you can say whatever you want to say to the people if you really feel like it. But are you making it right with your partner? Are you making it right with your kids? Are you making it right with the people you really offended? As your fans, supporters, whatever you want to call the people out there, the only thing you can do to offend us is do something to us. You can't be, you know what I mean? And we think that those people, because they're perfect or whatever, this is what we're supposed to be doing. No. Like, you don't need to be out on Front Street.
Celebrity relationships or nothing close to that.
I don't need to be out on Front Street doing everything. It's not like that. And the thing is, like, it's not supposed to be like that. And you don't have to have this expectation of things being perfect. Things are going to you're going to have ups and downs, right? My mother still always gave me the advice, and my mother is very different, and I value my mother a lot because she taught me different things when it comes to marriage. And she used to tell me, like, when you get married, like, I don't want to hear about what's going on in your marriage. If you and your wife are fighting, I don't want to hear it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to tell me the wild shit she did, and I'm going to react as your mother naturally, and I'm going to feel the way.
Forever have that image in her head.
And you're going to go forgive her 2 weeks later, and you guys just back to your good old marriage. So you deal with it. Unless it's like crazy. Obviously like you got to tell me some shit. But otherwise you handle it yourself, because I don't want to have a different opinion of your wife. And at the end of the day, what am I going to do? Come bring you home? No, you're not coming to live with me. You're not coming to my house. I'm not your wife. I'm not going to be your partner. You need to fix it with her. Choose her. And my mom used to say, if you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm not going to be on your side because you're my son. And I'm also not going to invade in your relationship. And it stuck with me because it really showed me, like, my wife is supposed to be my number one. She's supposed to be my partner for everything.
Does that same rule apply with friends too? That you,
in terms of what?
Like dealing with, like, let's say you guys have a problem. Are you going to, like, tell your friends what's going on, or
no?
Yeah, you just keep that between you guys, right? So that's what I'm getting at. Same
my
thing.
friends don't need to know at all. Like, don't get me wrong. There's certain things like, yo, my wife was cheesing me the other day. She was doing this. She was like, whatever, little things. You guys
are dealing with your conflict.
Exactly. And it's like, it's one thing if, like, we're having,
because we're just talking. Friends are running their whole relationship.
Like,
I know that with some women.
Like, to me, it's crazy because it's like, I don't understand how you can say, like, if you're telling me something as my friend about your relationship, and this is something I do in my marriage, this is something I do in my friendships. are you telling me this to hear my opinion? Because women, a lot of the times, they don't want to hear shit you have to say. They just want you to listen and say okay. And in that moment, sometimes they even want you to agree with them, even if you don't agree. And you know what? That's fine. But later on, you got to bring it back down to earth. Like, yo, I really didn't agree with you at that moment. You were really emotional though, but I got to keep it real with you. Or, cool, you just want to vent? Cool. I asked that question because sometimes we'll be talking and trying to offer solutions and they don't want to hear solutions. Exactly. And friends can be the same way. Sometimes your friends are just venting to vent and you're like, oh, well, maybe you should do this. Maybe we should do this. Oh, they're so wrong for that. It's like, oh, they're not wrong for that. It's like, well, yo, you told me something. I'm going to react to what you tell me. Yeah. So when it comes to friendships, I'm very much like, I don't necessarily want their opinion on what's going on in my relationship, but I'll share things so we can have common conversations. Maybe it's like, yo, am I crazy? Am I wrong? And oftentimes it's when I think that I'm the one wrong is when I'll share things. Okay. Because I don't want them looking at my partner a certain way. Exactly. They're looking at me crazy. I'm their friend. Look at me crazy all you want. Am I crazy for this? Actually, like I'll tell the man, I'm like, yo, I did this or I said this. Am I wrong for that? Like, yo, honestly, you're wrong for that. And I'll go apologize. You know what I mean? Whereas the opposite, not necessarily, because they're going to have that image of her in their mind.
They don't want that.
And it's not necessary. It's not their business either.
Exactly.
So that's how I see that. Like, I'm very much like, nah, you guys are not, you're not running my relationship. You're not going to tell me how to love my partner either.
Exactly.
What are we talking about? Exactly. Not a chance. So
these days in society, we keep on hearing toxic masculinity, toxic this, toxic men this, but we don't really hear the healthy solutions. What do you have to say about that?
So I hate the excessive use of the word toxic.
So do I. So do I.
Because sometimes, like, it's not toxicity. It's just, some things are just the way they are. Some people are just bad people. And the thing is, I hate the word toxic masculinity even worse because we're all people. Yo, fam, you guys think that we're all wired differently. We're not. We operate differently, but we're wired the same. We all have certain needs, certain things. We like, men cheat, women cheat. Men lie, women lie. Men get money, women get money. Some men are hustlers, some women are hustlers. Some men are waste, some women are waste. It happens on both sides. So with that, for me, it's like, okay, there is a problem with this hyper, I gotta be hard body all the time, or I have to always, like, I can never let a woman have one up on me. I can never be hurt. And it's like, yo, fam, you gotta be human, bro.
Exactly.
And niggas forget, you gotta be human.
Exactly.
Being human has real emotions tied to it. And being a man doesn't mean you don't show emotions, doesn't mean you don't express yourself the way you're supposed to. So I do hate the fact that men feel like, I have to move around like this. No, you don't, bro. And it's like, you'll never be happy. To be honest with you, you'll never be truly happy until you take yourself off that pedestal and tell yourself, yes, there are things that a woman can teach me. Yes, there are ways that a woman can make my life better. Yes, there are reasons just to get married. No, she's not after me for my money. Honestly, this is what I'm gonna say right now. A lot of you niggas talk this, she's after me for my money. You don't have shit. You don't have any money. You don't have money. You barely have a car. You don't live on your own. What are you talking about? I want a prenup. Prenup for what? A prenup is for making sure that what you have before you get married is protected. You don't have anything. Stop it, bro. I hate it. It cheeses me because it's like, if you have some shit to protect it by all means. If you have something that you feel you don't want a woman or anybody to take from you, protect it. However, if you don't have anything, stop running behind this guy's because all you're saying to yourself is, I'm supposed, but you don't have it yet. You're supposed to have this. And when I do have, when you do have it, maybe. But half the time people don't realize, like, God forbid something ever happened to me and my wife and we were divorced, I'm not fighting it because I knew before we were married, I didn't have shit. Like, I had shit, but I didn't have shit. You know what I mean? I was something. I was a person. I had a reputation, all these things. But when it comes to like money, finances, a nest, like I'm building something, I didn't have anything to build. What we have now, yes, we're building something.
Now.
She is just as much a part of what we have as I am. So I would look crazy to however many years down the line say, nah, you can't have whatever you're owed. That's what people get wrong with prenups. It's like, if we built this together, yes, you're entitled to it. See what I'm saying? But like, if I had $1 million and then we got married, I'm looking at you funny, and yes, I am going to feel like, wait, but a lot of you guys don't have that. You're building towards that. let her help you build towards that. So we have this wall up on it's like, oh, I have to do everything for myself. And don't get me wrong, I respect wanting to do things for yourself. I know some, oh, I don't want to get married until I can buy a property myself. I don't want to get married until I can pay for the whole wedding myself. Different things like that. If that's how you feel, 100%. And that's how you see things and your partner also is aligned with that, go ahead.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily, in 2022, with the cost of things, with how the economy works, and with how little there is in the dating pool, quality in the dating pool, I'm sorry, you can't be moving like that. Like I was watching, I seen a clip $1 million worth of game the other day with Brent Fias, and he was talking about how as he gets older, he stops looking for just looks, and he's looking for
the energy. I just posted that.
See what I'm saying? Because that's what is going. When I'm 60. We're all gonna look old, bro. We're all gonna look old at 60. Yeah, we can work out and do whatever we need to do to maintain, but we're all gonna look old.
Our prime beauty's gone.
So what do I have at that point? At that point, what do I have? Do I love you for real? Are you my dog for real? Can we do stuff for real? Like, do you mean something to me for real? You know what I mean? Like, have I grown? Have you taught me things? Have you been able to make me a better person? Because if you're bad, cool, you can be bad as hell. But if you're waste, you're bad as hell, and then when you're not, what happens when you're not bad?
Yeah, exactly.
I messed up. I made a silly decision to go be with somebody, build a life with somebody who just off their appearance. And women, same idea. You go build with somebody just because he has the bag. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go be with a man who has no ambition, who has no money, who has no plans. Sometimes you're going to have one of the three, two of the three, all three. Sometimes you're going to have none, but you're working towards something. Exactly. So I do agree that not every woman wants to be patient with a man and watch him go through the struggles. And I don't believe that, you should have to ride through the dirt for a man to get a ring or whatever the case is. I don't necessarily believe that. But I do understand that all men peak at different points. Yes, social media has you women thinking that niggas are supposed to have it at 20. No,
that's not.
We don't have it at 20. You don't have it at 25, really. I didn't really start to have it until I was like 30, bro. And then I was like, okay, this is what having it feels like. And then I realized the average man gets it later on in life. You're looking at entertainers, you're looking at ball players, you're looking at athletes. Yes, they have it at 20 because they have an outer worldly talent that they...
And it's a young man's game.
And they were fortunate enough to be able to do. But other than them, who are the real people with money in society? It's the 34, it's the 50, it's the 60-year-olds who have built their careers, who have built money. So yes, and what happens with a lot of those men? There were good women building with them.
Exactly.
I understand that women nowadays are more career driven, and they want to have their career set up, and they want to have things before they start to have kids, and they don't want to rely on men. And I respect it. I respect it and I understand it. However, I also understand that men have the benefit of not having to worry about a biological clock when it comes to if children are something that's in your plans. Whereas with women, they have to worry about that. So yes, at some point, unfortunately, and this is no fault to them, they have a clock that they have to be on. So the longer you wait, the less you have to choose from. And then you're also battling biology. You're battling your body. So it's like a lot of the times we have to be more open in society to understanding that it's not going to be how it is on Instagram. It's not going to be how the celebrities have it, because these guys have so much money. And the thing is, it's still different for them. They still have problems. They still have they go with each other because they have money, because they're good looking, because they have one interest, because they had a fling, whatever. Cool. They can deal with whatever they're dealing with. You have to look your partner in the face every day.
Exactly.
Are you doing it for the right reasons or not?
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. True. So let's talk about, you're raising a daughter right now. What are you learning?
Shit, I was
especially growing up in today's society. It's different from how we grew up, right?
I'm learning patience.
Okay.
I'm learning that I can't parent the way my mom parented. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the way
different times.
I appreciate the way my mother parented, and I know I was a badass kid at times, and my mom needed to parent me and beat my ass the way she did. And I'm not even mad at her for it, because I know that I needed that, because maybe if I didn't get that, I wouldn't have been as straight and narrow, and I wasn't even as straight. Hey, I was crooked for a bit, but I was able to find my path, you know what I mean, because of who my mother was. But I also understand that I can't parent the way she parented. because it's different. I am raising a young daughter. I can't be as aggressive. I can't be as rule with an iron fist, but I can still demand discipline. I can still demand respect. I can still demand an expectation of her, and I can still be stern with her. I don't have to be goo goo gaga, all that. Like we're past that stage. My daughter is growing up to be a young woman. I need to prepare her for what life has to offer, because life is not going to be kind to her at all times. Exactly. She needs to understand that as a woman, there's more danger to her than there is to me, and I have to prepare her for that. So it's nerve wracking. It's scary. Raising a daughter is scary, right? Because it's like you want to prepare her for not even just the man, because people are like, oh yeah, you want to prepare her for men because men are dogs, men are this, men are that. Okay, yeah, cool. Yes, I want to prepare her so that she can handle herself in relationships, and she can make sure that no man treats her a certain way. However, I need to understand that disadvantages, women are going to go through in society when it comes to climbing the ladder in certain careers or certain instances. She needs to understand that when it comes to safety, yes, there are times when you're going to be a target. You need to learn how to protect yourself, whether it be self-defense, whether carry mace when you're at the right age, when you're going on road, holding your keys in between your fingers. So if a man runs upon you, you can, you'll poke up a man, whatever it is. She needs to know these certain things, because that's what's going to help her get through life. And some of my friends, maybe who have had younger children who are getting older, are like, oh, you don't think that sometimes you're a little bit harsher, you're a little bit, you can be a little bit much? And I'm like, yo, listen, I'm a cry now, laugh later kind of man. I'll go through the, oh my gosh, dad, I did it. Like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? So that later on, when life is harder, she understands what she's going to have to go through. And she's not now learning difficult decisions at such a late point in life. Because what happens with those people who don't learn hard lessons until their 20s, what happens? They're privileged, they don't know how to handle it, they crumble, they break down, they're a wreck,
they're projecting
and their privilege is shining through because they never had to handle difficulty, they never had to learn about the difficult things that are coming to them in life. Because I tell my daughter all the time, like, yo, you're never gonna live in a building with pissy hallways and nasty crackheads living in the building like I'd lived in. You're never gonna have to worry about living in a hood the way I lived in when I was in Scarborough. You're never gonna have to worry about certain things that I had to worry about. You're never gonna have to worry about using the oven to keep the house hot. See what I'm saying? You're never gonna have to worry about boiling water to bathe. You don't know that life. And I've done everything that I can to make sure you don't know that life. However, what we forget as a generation of parents now, the difficult thing is we come from a generation of parents who they didn't have shit. They couldn't give a shit, so we came from the gutter. Now that we have the ability and we have the money to have things, we want to give our kids everything. And we're giving them everything. But the problem is we're giving them everything without attaching any value to it. We're not putting no value to it. We're not showing our kids the value of hard work, what it means, because we're just giving it to them because we have it.
And we don't building entitlement.
And that's why for me, my daughter can have whatever. Are you acting right? Are you behaving when you sleep, when you're with your grandma? Is she telling me that you're doing this? Are you giving attitude? Are you keeping your grades right? Are you doing the chores in the house? She's at the age now where she can do these things. She's she won to grade 7.
Jeez.
Fam, when I was in grade 7, I was doing big, what? Fam, I was in the crib doing, taking out garbage, doing the laundry, doing my own laundry.
I do my own laundry too.
Fam, what are we talking about? You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, I'm not even asking you to do the world, but I'm going to prepare you. For me, it prepared me because when I learned life was hard, I was like, yo, I can roll with the punches. I know a lot of my friends, people, my peers, they couldn't roll with the punches. They sunk, fam. They sunk. They're not here with us. They're not on the boat anymore. And I don't want that for her. I want her to know life is gonna hit you with blows. Life is gonna fight you, fam. But you gotta fight back. And I want her to know that from a young age, so that she never gets into a habit of, just not appreciating things, not understanding things. She understands hard work. When I was running Robin Wings, so back in the day when I was actually running Robin Wings now is more of a catered thing. I do my wings by the tray, but I had it like I was doing it by the pound, like I had a full menu, and I was doing it out of a bistro in Saga. So he was running Monday to Friday. I would actually take it Friday to Sunday. So I was running it part-time. And like, I would literally go from my regular job as an advisor, Monday to Friday. Friday, what I would used to do is I would pick up my daughter. I live in Brampton. My daughter's mom, at the time when my daughter was living with her mom, lived in Oakville. Okay. I would leave Toronto, downtown Toronto, go on the train, get to Mississauga, get my car, go to Oakville, pick up my daughter from school, go to the shop on Friday, change at the shop, start serving orders from like 6 p.m. Do it Friday night, do it Saturday, do it Sunday, Sunday, I drop her back to her mom's crib, back to work on Monday. And I was doing this for a year and change. My daughter saw hard work in the thick of it. She saw when I was in my suit meeting clients. She saw when I had to take her to like different places when I'm on road. My daughter knows that I'm a hustler. She saw that. And she saw that I did it so that she could have the things that she has. So it's difficult, but it goes back to just like being a leader of your household, being a leader of your relationship. You got to lead by example.
Knowing what you want.
I want her to grow up, yes, with a better life than I had, a better privilege than I had, but also understanding why, understanding where it comes from, and understanding that yes, it can get taken from you at a second.
Anytime.
And that's just how life is.
Yeah.
But we're going to prepare ourselves for the best possible result at all times. And I wanted to be a well-respected young woman in society. I wanted to be well-respected. I wanted to be well-spoken. I wanted to be intelligent, but I also wanted to be free. I don't necessarily wanted to have all the boundaries that I had growing up.
Yeah.
But it's a thin line because these kids don't know accountability. These kids don't want to be accountable for shit, bro. And I'm not even talking about just like my daughter them's age, because they get it a lot from their friends, TikTok, internet, social media, all that kind of stuff. That's why I'm not even a fan of that stuff for kids. So they get a lot of that from there. But then even the younger, like, I'm 32, but even my like younger cousins and shit like that, people I know in like their young 20s, you guys are moving real stupid. Like no accountability, nothing is your fault. Everything that's happening in your life is a result of something that somebody else did.
An excuse.
And you can't live life like that. And once you can start to take accountability, you change things. And I understand and for a lot of people, I understand you don't want to face the reality that you made mistakes. You made mistakes so drastic that it set you back years. You did certain things that you shouldn't have done. You made mistakes. But that's a part of life. Yeah. And you have to be able to get over that hurdle. Fam, as a parent, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've messaged my mom, I called my mom, I told my mom in person, like, honestly, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because like I was wilding. I was doing the most. I was doing this. And I'm so sorry because I know, I see it now. And it made me and my mom's relationship a lot better. There's a couple of things that made me and my mother's relationship better, but I had to learn through that I had to be flexible as a parent. You can't parent the way they parent, but I think that you should have some of those values. I cling to some of those values. Yes, when I speak, you listen in my house. What are we talking about? There's no disrespect. There's no attitude. You're not going to go anywhere else and disrespect somebody. Even when it comes to like my culture, being Nigerian, there's a certain way that people greet elders, right? When you walk into a room, you greet. As a man, you greet a certain way. As a woman, you greet a certain way. My wife and my daughter, they greet the elders in my family that way because that's something that I wanted and required of them.
Was your 10.
And they understood that. My wife understood that very early. From when she was my girlfriend, she was doing that because she understood that was important for me, and it wasn't beneath her to do something for my partner that makes his family realize that I appreciate, understand, and respect their culture. Because being Nigerian, respect is number one. More than anything, respect is number one in a relationship, in your family, and everything. So I wanted that from my daughter. And I wanted her to understand why we do things a certain way that we do things. Like, for example, like we don't give people things with our left hand, especially money or food.
I heard that.
Right? So like from a young age, never did that. Still till this day, I'll have some in my left hand and like I'll juggle, put things to give people, and they're like, and I'm like, it's just something I do. Right? I expect that of my daughter. She makes mistakes. I'm not gonna, like back in our day, they'd slap us on the hand. Like this, they box us if we did that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell her, okay, hey, remember that, because it's just something that we do. And it's a sign of respect. She does, like my mom will do the same thing. She'll be sitting in the living room. She'll give her someone with her left hand. My mom would just look at her like, and she'll be like, oh, sorry. She knows. So like things like that. So I want her to have certain values because they're important to me. Right. And at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. It's just, it's very effortless to do these little things. So, but also there's things that my daughter's going to expect of me as her dad that maybe I couldn't expect of my mother. I couldn't expect of my father. There's certain conversations that I may not want to have that she's going to expect me to have. There's certain things that she's going to want to tell me that I have to listen to. There's things she's going to want to do that I'm going to have to be like, I don't really want you to do this, but I have to allow room for growth.
Wow, bro. Amazing. And it's like, just by hearing you, obviously this is our first in-depth conversation. I'm not sure like how you were before, but like, it just sounds like growth. And it sounds like you've been through this experience to get to this point.
I can say this about who I used to be in my past. I've always been a well-spoken person, always been considered an educated person. But I've also been a driven person. And I say but because my drive has often got me in trouble. I aspire for a lot. And when I was younger, I used to aspire for a lot, and I used to do things in certain ways. And I was a hustler by nature. And that used to get me in trouble, of course. But I also used to be very hungry for more. And I realized that for my mom, that was an issue at times growing up. And I had to come to a point where I took a lot of L's. And one thing I learned is, no matter how you get it, no matter how things happen, the energy you deserve always comes back to you. People call it karma. Some people call it karma. I do call it karma. Some people say it's just the world, the energy of the world, whatever, the universe. But it comes back. Because what I will say is, when I was having fun, when I was doing the most, when I was living, it was great. It was great. It was great. It was great. And then reality sets in. And then the L's start to come in. And then you realize, oh, okay, I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't just do that and get away with it. Something was going to happen as a result of this. And then you start to realize that with life, and it starts to catch up with you. And I took my fair share of L's.
Yeah, me too, bro.
But I taken a lot of W's. There's a lot of people who know me like, oh, I wouldn't have been able to tell, because there was a time I was living. Right? There's people who were close. That would be like, oh yeah. But there was a lot of L's being taken that some came after the fact. But those L's made me who I am, and it showed me how to do things the right way. And it taught me how to do things the right way. And don't get me wrong, none of us are perfect. Do I strive to be perfect? No. Am I ever going to make mistakes? Do I ever have habits or thoughts or the old me or the old way I used to do things? Of course. But then the growth sets in, and then you remember, and people are allowed to have moments of weakness as well. And I think that people forget that. People think that growth is being a 10 all the time. No,
man.
It's not.
Learning from your ones.
Fam. You know what I mean? And then, when you learn, you keep it moving. Try not to make the same mistake twice. 100%. And just keep growing from it. So for me, I've grown a lot. And I've grown through my losses, but that's why I do a lot of speaking and talking and mentoring to whoever I can, my youngers, and even some of my friends that are older than me who will listen because I'm older in experience per se. I would love, and they say it, a smart man learns from his own mistakes, a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. I like to be the smart man and allow them to be the wise man. I like to help them so that they cannot make the same mistakes. And some people are going to listen, some people aren't. Some of my friends, you guys listen to me, and some of you don't. And everybody has their own journey, everybody has their own path, and they're going to get it how they live. But I feel like if I can do that, especially with the younger people, I'm doing my part, like coaching football, all that kind of stuff. Like, it allows me to give this knowledge that I've gained back to these youth who need it. Because they need it a lot. True.
Shit, bro. That's deep. So, listen. This is a question that I ask everybody on the show. And you don't have to say any names. What is the best advice that you've gotten? And what is the worst advice that you've gotten?
Look up to life?
Yeah.
Life. Oh God. Golly, that's a loaded question. Okay. The worst advice I've got is that I'll go to my best advice.
Okay.
Best advice I've gotten is that no matter what happens, the ups and the downs will come. You have to spend more time focusing gonna maybe give you ups, but the downs are certain. So don't create more downs for yourself because they're gonna come automatically. When you have the power, create all the positivity that you can. Because positivity is gonna come in spurts, negativity is gonna come in spurts.
Facts.
Out of your control. So when it is in your control, use that energy to create positivity. And I try to live by that. I try to give grace. I try to live by positivity. And when I can control the situation, I try to be an optimist about it. That's what I would say is the best advice I've gotten, like in general in life, and I live by that. Like people ask all the time when they hear my story and they know what I've been through and like the ups and downs. They're like, "Yo, how do you walk around with a smile on your face the same way?" I say, "Yo, I'm still here, bro. I'm still here, and I'm faithful and I'm grateful." You know what I mean? And like, I can't dwell on what's already happened. I have to move forward. Worst advice I can say I've probably gotten is don't get married. Don't get married was bad advice that I gotten from people. And that was really just simply because like who it was coming from. And they were saying it because they didn't, and don't get me wrong, it's not for everybody. Let me preface that. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like marriage is something that everybody should be doing or should do. It's not for everybody. but it was bad advice because they didn't even try to do it the right way.
True.
So if you're not going to do something properly, don't give other people advice on it.
True.
So that's what made it horrible advice.
True.
So that's what I would say.
All right, bro. Also, one last question. On this show, we like to make predictions, right? So, 5 years, I'm going to play this back. I'm like, Robinson said he was going to do that. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years? Man, that is a loaded question because in 5 years, I will be a father to more children.
Jeez.
Hopefully.
Let's go.
I will be more solidified in my insurance advisor business. Mm-hmm. I'll be the best insurance advisor in the province. I'm already pretty close. I'm already pretty close, in my opinion. Yeah. Those who know. Yeah. Those who don't will soon find out. So I will be the best advisor in the province, maybe the country. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there, so I'll be realistic. Mm-hmm. But I also feel as though I'll have multiple businesses creating opportunities for other people.
Dope, bro.
Because I'm all about making sure that everybody else can eat.
Have you thought about like starting your own podcast?
I have thought about it, and I've also actually did it with my cousins a couple years back. We started a podcast. It didn't get too big. We kind of just stopped doing it, but I've thought about it. It's not something that I feel like I would necessarily, I'm as good as the people who are doing it. And I also do feel like a lot of people are oversaturated in the podcast market. Yes, not a lot of you guys are good at this. He's good at this.
Thank you.
Not a lot of you guys are good at this. So
appreciate it.
Because of that, I'm like more like I'm in a lot of lanes. That's a lane I don't think I'd be in. True. But I love being on podcasts. I've been on yours. I've been on a few podcasts that are been out. Some that are gonna come out, and I'll be on a lot more. I want to be on everybody's podcast. Anybody who will hear what I gotta say and whatever message I'm trying to give out. If you have a specific message that I can deliver, I'm here for it. But yeah,
I say that because of your mentorship. Like I feel like you have a lot of gems to drop, especially for our community. But you are doing mentorship.
In different ways. And I'm going to keep doing it in those ways. Okay. And whenever I'm invited on a podcast to, sometimes I'm really, we're having this kind of conversation. Sometimes I'm just talking my shit. Yeah. When it comes to whether it be like, like music, for example, like I get deep into music bag. I get deep into sports bag. Yeah. And then obviously like just knowing, being well versed in things. Yeah. But yes, that I love podcasts. I love this podcast.
Thank you.
There's a couple ones that I listen to, but I also am not digesting them that I used to because there's too many people putting them out.
Yeah.
So true. I say I like podcasts with a grain of salt.
Fair. So before you give your information so people can contact you, what are some last words that you have for us men that we can do better?
Honestly, we need to do a better job being leaders. We need to do a better job looking at ourselves in the mirror and acknowledging our own faults.
Fair.
I wasn't able to really be the best leader until I could say, hey, I have to be able to listen when I'm being corrected, be open to being corrected, and also understand that I have to take that the same way I want to give it and apply it and go forward. So we need to be better leaders. We need to be better listeners, and we need to actually put our better foot forward to not trying to be perfect, but being the best for our families and doing that within the best of our abilities and not feeling like you have to be perfect.
True. All right, bro. And your information?
Man, I got a lot. So for the insurance, it's Robinson. I'm sure you'll put it somewhere on the screen. Yeah. So Robinson.insurance. That's for all things life insurance, living benefit related. Cool. At Robin Wings. That's ROBN Wings. If you need some fire wings, I do make the best wings in the GTA. Jeez. Come holla at me. We'll get you right. Bear Seasoning at Bear Seasoning, no G at the end. That's me and my guy Kyle getting to it. Content, a lot of new stuff coming your way. And that's what I do. That's where you can find me. And that's those are the ads. My personal one, if you know me personally, you can holla at me. If you don't worry about it.
Okay, dope, bro. I just want to say thank you for coming. That was a real heavy episode and needed episode, and I appreciate it, and you're welcome back anytime.
Yo, listen, whenever you have me, I'll be here. I appreciate you having me. I love what you're doing. I love the pod. I love the episodes you have.
Thank you. You're
bringing home real messages and you're putting on for the mandem. I love it. So keep doing it, man.
Okay. That's it, guys. Episode 30. Till next time.
Everything black on black. If I studied that facts on facts.